So once we have created a map of these procrastinating behaviors, which I know it's a lot to do already, but just mapping where procrastination is showing up. After that, you may want to pause and really reflect on the type of life you want to have, what matters to you. There are different experiential exercises to identify what's truly, truly important to us.
Yes.
I think that is the next step, stepping back and checking if you are...
Hi, I'm Dr. Jodie Richardson, and this is, well, hello anxiety. In a world that often moves too fast, we're here to pause, breathe, and understand anxiety together. Each episode will explore practical strategies, share honest conversations, and uncover the science behind anxiety and well-being, all while creating a space where it's okay to not be okay. Let's continue this journey together. Dr. Z, thank you so much for all that you shared in last week's episode and for joining us for the second part of this conversation. We left off last week with the first 3 of 6 questions. Help us understand more about why we procrastinate. And if you're just picking up on this episode and you didn't hear last week's, please revisit that episode after you've finished listening here. But Dr. Z, you're up to question 4, the 4th question we can contemplate when we're trying to understand ourselves better.
Thank you so much for having me back again so we can continue with part 2 of our conversation on procrastination.
So welcome. Thank you. You're wonderful.
Thank you. Here is question number 4. What are the feeling-based choices or short-term choices you have made in the moments you feel like procrastinating? So one of the things that happens, and you mentioned this in our previous episode, Jodie, is that many times when we're thinking about tackling a project or starting a new activity, having a hard conversation with someone, asking for a promotion, asking for a raise, making a doctor's appointment, so trying to find an agent for a book, there is all types of micro choices we have to make.
Yeah, yes.
There are some choices that feel really good. They feel fun, they feel exciting, like watching a show on Netflix, catching up with your favorite podcast, right?
Yes.
Those choices are very, very cozy, right? Because they feel good and make us feel good so quickly. But it's acting on the feeling. On the other hand, the other choices of the stuff that we need to get done, the difficult conversation we want to have with our friends, with our partners, visiting a person that we care in the hospital, or paying taxes, right? They're coming with different feelings. Sometimes there is fear of rejection, there is feeling overwhelmed, there is anxiety about how it's going to go. There is fear about what people are going to think of us. Will they think I'm smart enough or not? So another process is to really ask ourselves, what are the feeling-based choices I have made on those moments when I had the urge to procrastinate or when procrastinating? Because many times what leads people to procrastinate is the habit, the routine of making choices that feel good in the moment, but they are not sustainable in the long term.
Yes.
So that will be question number 4.
Yes. And even just, when you're listening to a podcast, I often find that you hear a lot and you're nodding along and you're feeling like, yes, I relate to that. It's a really good question. And then it's hard to kind of like, after you've listened to a podcast, kind of go, what did I take from that? And what can I do differently? And I think one of the really powerful things that you've said among the many is this idea of feelings-based choices. And I think just raising our awareness about, one, that we're in a position where we've got a choice to make. And 2, we know that there's more layers to this, of course, because we haven't even talked about values-based choices. But even if it's just, I've got a choice here, and am I making a choice based on what's going to feel cozy and what's going to feel good and comfortable? And just, I think that raised awareness alone could make such a difference, because then we intuitively know what choice that moves us forward towards the things that are important. And so, this idea of feelings-based choices, I love that for question 4. What about question 5?
Yeah. If I can add a little bit, I think you're really right on target. I think many times the clients I have worked with a lot of humility, they really realize that they have been making really good choices. It becomes so natural for them to choose what is cozy. Um, so when I talk about these short-term choices or feeling-based choices, they say, aha, I was doing that, right? It
Yes.
just happens they weren't aware because it's so ingrained, it has been reinforced, it's so repetitive, right? And that's the challenge with procrastination, that once you start avoiding the uncomfortable thoughts, the uncomfortable feeling, the uncomfortable situation becomes a pattern, right? The
Yeah.
more that you avoid, the more you reinforce the habit. So I think taking a look and acknowledging that at times we have made feeling-based choices, that is a very important step.
And it can also be a painful acknowledgement, but it's so human. It's so natural. We default almost to comfort and safety. It's safety, isn't it? At the end of the
That's
day.
right.
Yes.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. That's why I think last week when you asked me about the starting point, is really encouraging readers to practice on forgiveness towards themselves and self-compassion. I think it is important because as you unpack what has led you to chronically procrastinate, then it can be painful, it can be hard. So I think making room for that is also important.
It is. It is. And it's not the cozy choice to acknowledge this, to understand it, to learn more about it. It's the antithesis of the cozy choice.
Exactly. Very well said.
Yes, it leads to a much more fulfilling life, and one where we can, move forward. And you used the word micro before when you were talking about micro choices, and it's fair to say that when we are moving away from the cozy choices, that it doesn't have to be in a great leap either, does it? They can be like little micro steps as well. And so I think that that's important, that it's not like we have to kind of like take the proverbial leap off the cliff. That's not how we start when we're changing things, is it?
That's right. Thank you for mentioning that, Jody. With acceptance and commitment therapy, on the one hand, we're certainly trying to practice new behaviors that lead us to live our values and to do the things that matter to us. There is that behavioral aspect of the work that we're doing. But there is also the skill of slowing down a little bit, enough that we can catch what's happening under our skin.
Yes.
So I think these micro moments of reflecting and stepping back and checking what's really going on for me here right now. So I think that is embedded in acceptance and commitment therapy as a model, and is what you're tapping at. It is not easy to do that. It's easy to go and read 100 books on procrastination, right? Or to read 200 books on productivity, right? And you can recite, from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But the skill of slowing down and stepping back, that's much harder. Living intentionally, it's much harder than jumping into go, go, go.
Yes,
So I
it is.
appreciate so much the point you're making. Very, very well said.
Dr. Z, thank you. And question 5, you were starting to talk about a few moments ago. Can you share with us what's the next question that, and again, and it's not just about hearing the questions and knowing the questions to ask. What we really invite you to do as a listener, if procrastination is something that is, a part of your life, which it is most of our lives, to have the time to slow down and reflect on your answers. So what's the next question for us to start thinking about and doing something about and reflecting on?
Here is question number 5. It's asking yourself, what are the reasons my mind is coming up with when thinking about procrastination? So we have chatted about negative stories and self-doubt. We have chatted about rules that the mind comes up with, but the mind also comes up with reasons to put things off. For example, if I have to write a proposal for a publisher, my mind may quickly tell me, you won't finish on time. You just won't finish on time. You better don't do it. You already wasted time. Just better don't do it. Or my mind may tell me things, Patricia, last time you submitted a proposal, it got rejected. So I don't know why you're going to do this right now. right? That's another
Yeah.
reason why I may postpone. Or my mind may tell me, Patricia, I think you need to think a little bit more about that book idea, even though I have been thinking about it for 12 months already. I, it's not there, right? You don't feel it. So reasons are another types of thoughts that our mind pushes us to go along with, so we postpone. So that's question number 5. What are the reasons that your mind comes up with when you are having a strong urge to procrastinate, or when you're thinking about tackling a project, activity, or hobby?
Yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. So that's question 5. Okay. Brilliant. And I was just thinking that because procrastination can be so broad and it can be across different domains of our lives, whether it's relationships or work or leisure, would it be with the questions that you're sharing with us today, which I'm loving, would it be wise for us to think, right, I've got this one task or project or intention that I've been procrastinating on, and keep that in mind as we go through the questions? So it's not like the general procrastination. We need to sort of dive a little bit deeper and drill down into, okay, this one particular thing that I know is important to me that I'm putting off. Let's start reflecting and answering these questions based on that one particular project or task. Is that the right approach?
That's a great question. If it's okay, let me share with you question number 6.
Yes.
There's one more question. And then I think that's a great question. Where do we start?
Yes.
Right?
Okay,
once I
great.
reflect, how do I use these questions? So for our listeners, question number 6 is about, let me pause, let me say this. So for our listeners, here is question number 6. What is the value that you are ignoring when postponing things, when putting things off? And let me say a little bit more about this. Many times, and I do this many times, I don't want to do domestic tasks. I don't want to do the dishes. I don't want to be doing the laundry. It takes me 5 to 6 hours sometimes to take care of these chores.
Yes.
And I find it very tedious.
Yes.
And I go to these moments, but I need to be reading this book and I have to do the laundry. Should I do this? Should I do that? And one of the things that I hear from my clients a lot is they will tell me things. A high school student may tell me things like, Dr. Z, I am not thinking about becoming a psychologist. So why do I have to study for that test in psychology? I'm thinking about going to engineering. Why I'm going to waste my time doing that project? Why? It's nonsensical.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why people procrastinate, because they don't see the value. They don't see the value behind this mundane and tedious task. And my mind does that too, right? Sometimes I forget about the value behind doing these domestic chores, doing the laundry, doing the dishes, taking the garbage out. So, and these are just examples, right? But the idea here is for people to check, what is the value I am ignoring when I am procrastinating this task? Because behind every mundane task, there is going to be a long-term impact in the quality of our life, in a particular value, in a particular area of our life.
Yes.
So that's question number 6. It is sometimes can be very quickly or reactive to postpone because we don't see the value in those things. But when you ask yourself, if I postpone writing that project, if I keep putting off doing the laundry, what's the value of my life that is getting compromised? Then I may be able to say things. I appreciate having a healthy lifestyle. It's important for me to have that. And as part of that, I appreciate when I have an environment that is not spotless, but it feels cozy and feels at home.
Yes.
So I want to create that in my life, right? It helps me to feel better about myself. So when I tap into that value, then I may say, okay, I will do the laundry 30 minutes, or I will fold clothes 30 minutes, right?
Yes.
But so that's the question, to be able to check what is the value that is being compromised when I postpone X, when I postpone this task, this project, this hobby, this conversation.
So important. Dr. Z, you've got me thinking about some of the things that I relate very closely to you when it comes to some of the things around the house. And yeah, I really love that I mean, all of these questions are excellent. That last one, what is the value that we are ignoring by putting it off? And that is another very powerful question. I'd love to revisit this idea of, well, what do we do next? We've got these very, very powerful questions. How can, in the time that we have, can you support us to use these wisely?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. Here as well, I will invite listeners of the podcast to try with these questions. After answer each one of these questions, you may want to do an inventory of different areas of your life in which these procrastinating behaviors are showing up. Right. As you say, Joe, the procrastinating behaviors can show up in every aspect of our life. Spirituality, career or work, relationships, parenting, health, community life. So in the book, I have a mini template that people can use to look at different areas of their life and check what are they really procrastinating, how those procrastinating behaviors look, sound, and feel.
Yes.
Mainly because procrastination has been primarily studied in academic settings. And certainly there is a lot of struggles with procrastination when a person is going to school, but also we know that there is a lot of procrastinating behaviors for people that want to start new activities or new hobbies. We also know that there is a lot of procrastinating behaviors related to parenting. That's another area. We also know there is a lot of procrastinating behaviors at work. The amount of time that the person that works every day spends scrolling on the cell phone or avoiding answering an email or sending an email, it's massive. So I think it is helpful to get a little bit of a map of how these procrastinating behaviors are showing up and to really dig into that, considering everything a person is postponing. Sometimes we have been making a call for months.
Yes.
Right? People, right? It's not just a big project, right? Sometimes very everyday things that we're putting things up, like making a phone call, sending an email, moving a plant, right?
Yeah.
Taking a class. So I think mapping all those behaviors is another step.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. And it might be a bit of a rude awakening when we start writing it down. But this is the thing. It's not a cozy choice to make an inventory of the things that we've been putting off. And I know that there are listeners nodding and kind of going, yes, you're talking about me, because there's so much anxiety involved and that feeling, that discomfort. So once we've done our inventory, what's the next step?
So once we have created a map of these procrastinating behaviors, which I know it's a lot to do already, but just mapping where procrastination is showing up. After that, you may want to pause and really reflect on the type of life you want to have, what matters to you. There are different experiential exercises to identify what's truly, truly important to us.
Yes.
I think that is the next step, stepping back and checking if you are building a life that you are proud of. If you are showing up to the people you love as it matters to you. If you are living your friendships as it is important to you. So I think tapping into what we call, as you mentioned, our values is fundamental for behavioral change. I share this many times, right, that there are so many books written about behavioral change and sometimes sounds like easy peasy, do this, do that.
Just do it.
That's right. Oh my gosh, the famous slogan, don't get me started. Just do it. I have a lot to say, but I will be thoughtful about it. I think we know, and research has showed this, that behavioral change, anchoring what matters to us based on what adds meaning into our life, is much more long-lasting.
Yeah.
Different studies have shown that over and over. Acceptance and commitment therapy capitalizes that from the bottom. We cannot do behavioral change without looking, am I being the person I want to be in the world?
Yeah.
Am I building a life I am proud of? So exploring that will be the next step before doing anything.
Yes. And you the work that you do and the way that you do it is just, it's such a beautiful invitation for us to be able to live our lives as the people that we want to be, and to build a life that we're proud of, and to minimize the regrets that we have for the things that we didn't do. And your book is, honestly, it is such a gift, because the doors that open, and through experience, when we can reflect on the questions, we can answer the questions, knowing the particular procrastinating behaviour that we're working on, wherever we begin, whether that's in parenting domain or work or hobbies. The experience and the joy and the fulfillment that comes from doing that work, making that slightly less than cozy choice to begin with, is profound. And I really do hope that anyone listening, the book, I want to ask you about the book, Dr. Z, in just a moment, but that, this, I hope, is one of those podcast episodes, or two of those podcast episodes, where you'll come back and you'll press pause, or you'll jot the questions down, and that you will take the time to do this. Because, like you said, Dr. Z, we could read 100 books, we could listen to thousands of hours of podcasts, but at the end of the day, we benefit greatly by making some change. And you've given us some really practical, such concrete ways that we can get started with that. And the book doesn't pick up where we left off, because there's so much more to the book, but it's just a window into what the book can offer. So can you tell us about where people can connect with you and follow your wonderful, wonderful work? And where is the book for sale?
The book is available on Amazon.
Oh, great.
So any person in any part of the world can get access to the book. My website is www.thisisdrz.com. They can send me an email. I will be more than happy to answer any questions or clarify any of the things that we discuss on the podcast. And Jody, if I can add one tiny bit to our conversation,
please.
Hopefully
Yes,
it's okay.
of
Thank
course.
you. I just want to say, you did ask very nicely, what is the process in which a person can get unstuck from procrastination into values-based living? And I think these two episodes highlight that. So I really hope that people really, as you say, listen the first episode, pause, take notes, jump into the second episode. But there is a skill that I taught in the book, that is learning to be compassionately accountable. And I think of it's a way of being on the board, but it's also a micro skill, because when you're dealing with procrastination, especially with problematic and chronic patterns of procrastination, people feel defeated, people feel hopeless, people feel that it's too late for them. And I want to encourage our listeners to hold lively onto those thoughts, and to keep in mind that behavioral change is possible for every person, and that part of the work of procrastination is just being aware of what drives you to procrastinate, and is also to be compassionately accountable of the choices you make.
Yes.
There is no need to go into self-blame or self-attacking. But there is a lot of room to be compassionate and taking ownership of the choices you make when your mind tells you all types of things, when you feel all types of things.
Yes.
And I think that is a fundamental skill for anyone who has a struggle with procrastination, really to learn to be compassionately accountable, which will be extremely helpful in the long run.
I agree. And for somebody listening who's not quite sure what that might feel like, or what one might say to themselves, could you just briefly share something somebody could say to themselves if they're thinking, well, I actually think the idea of being compassionately accountable is something that I'd like to try? What's a quick example you could share?
That is a very rich question.
I
will
know.
try to answer it shortly. It's a very rich question, because being compassionately accountable means relating to our thinking in our lighter way, relating to those negative stories, to those reasons, to those rules in a lighter way, in a way that they don't dictate our behavior. And while we take ownership and say, here's my mind telling me yap, and I with capital letters choose to do X in the service of my values.
Yes. Thank you.
It's one of my favorite chapters in the book is chapter 5. And I will tell you because this chapter of compassion, accountability, chapter 5 in the book, is one of my favorite chapters. And it's because every client I have worked with has been shamed, have been asked to do whatever they have to do to get out of procrastination. They experience with self-blame, if not self-attacking themselves. And I fundamentally believe that self-compassion is going to be another psychological skill to make a change. But self-compassion without ownership is a different story. I'm talking about self-compassion with ownership of the choices we make.
Yes.
The mind will tell us all types of things, but we can learn the ability to choose how to respond to our inner noise.
Yes. Beautifully said. And I realised as soon as you said how rich a question was, I'm like, yes, that is not a question for the last minute of the podcast. But you, honestly, you got such a, you've done a beautiful job of giving us that deeper insight, which I think is really important. And I can't thank you enough for your time, Dr. Z. And the website is This Is Dr. Z. So this is DRZ, the letter Z.com. Just so that if you're going to keep that in mind and jump on the internet. So thank you again. I'm so grateful. You really do have such a warm and compassionate and loving way of helping us all feel human for the way that we think and respond and the behaviours and the choices that we make. So I'm very, very grateful. Thank you again for joining me.
Thank you so much, Jody. And it's always a pleasure to chat with you. And again, please know that I'm a big fan of all the work you are doing. I'm a big fan of your podcast and all the work you're doing with families, parents, and anyone dealing with anxiety. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this time with me on Well, Hello Anxiety. Remember, understanding anxiety is the first step to managing it. Until next time, be gentle with yourself. Take things one moment at a time. Focus on what you can control and know that you are not alone on this journey. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone who might need to hear it too. I'm Dr. Jody Richardson, and I'll meet you right back here next week.